I'm not inviting people to be divisive and to argue. I'm saying this across the board to all of us citizens, okay, that have the power to vote people in office. And once they get there, we expect them to work on our behalf, to protect us, to defend us, to provide us with the minimal things that we need. Because remember, our government is not our nanny. We shouldn't allow them to do certain things that we allow them to do and get away with. They're responsible to us. In many ways, we're not responsible to them. I want this to be so clear. The way the government is acting today is so Machiavellian. I can give you 100 examples, and it will be coming. I promise you that. You're going to see the examples, no gimmicks, real examples, real life people in government that are acting so mob-like, so Machiavellian, that you're going to be shocked. And it's going to trouble you. It's going to bother you. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese, and hope everybody's doing well. And today, I am almost forced to deal with a subject that I've been trying to avoid, and I'll tell you what it is. It's kind of like the elephant in the room for me, and the reason I say that is because both myself and my team, through all social media platforms, we try to go through the comments, and there are thousands of them, need to understand that. And we try to pick out the ones that seem to be out there the most, and we try to respond to them in a certain way. And, this particular one is prominent across all platforms. People are asking me about my political views. What do I think about the current situation? Am I a Republican or a Democrat? Do I follow Trump? What's the deal? And the reason I don't like to address this, because it's so divisive and it gets so ugly. And I find that, people attack me if I say I support Trump or I support a point of view that opposes that person's point of view. I can deal with that. I'm a public figure. You got to have thick skin. People are going to disagree with me. It's not so much that. It's because people start to argue with each other. They start to get personal. They start to throw names at one another, and it gets so ugly. It's terrible, the condition of our political climate today, where there can't be just civil discourse anymore. I'll give you an example. We have a very dear friend, met her 30 years ago. She was on the visiting line. She actually met my wife when I was in Terminal Island, California. She was a dance instructor. She actually instructed my daughters in dance. We know her all of this time. I call her sister. My wife and her are very close. She is a stone liberal to the nth degree, right? And she's very vocal about it. And I tend to be conservative in most of my feelings. And we have our conversations back and forth. But, she loves me, my family, and I love her. And it's civil discourse, although we disagree on just about everything. You can't find a lot of that today, and it's terrible. It really is. And I just want to make one point of view of mine, known to all of you. Because I think it's important, coming from my background, my perspective. I'm going to give you a little lesson, and you're going to hear a lot more about this because I'm writing something about it. It's going to be out there in a big way. The mob, the ideology we lived under was a philosophy or an ideology that was born in Niccolo Machiavelli. He was a 15th, 16th century philosopher, I guess you can say. He wrote a book called The Prince in the early 1500s. And if you're a member of the mob and you go to prison, just about all of us with half a brain will read The Prince, because we live under this Machiavelli ideology. It's very Mafia, obviously. He was Italian. He was born in Italy, lived in Italy. And basically, I want to break it down. Machiavelli wrote the book The Prince to advise a prince how to maintain control of his kingdom. And in that book, he said a lot of things. He believed in immoral behavior. He believed in murder. He was anti-religion. He thought religion was man-made, certainly anti-Christian. He told the prince that you can do anything you need to do to maintain control of your kingdom, control of your people. You can lie, you can steal, you can cheat, you can bribe, you can kill, you can do anything, because the important thing is maintain control of the people. However, and this is very important, this is a big however, what he stated was, to everybody on the outside, you must always appear upright, honest, and having integrity. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. That's the big mob way. The way the mob, well, we always wanted control of our people. We used the unions to get control of a business, so the business had to be beholden to us. All right, we used violence, the threats of violence at times, fear, to maintain control of people so they can do our bidding. I want you to think about our government today. Our government, in many ways, a certain faction of our government, they want to maintain control. Now, how do they maintain control? By giving you things. When you're dependent upon government or dependent upon anybody to eat, for your health care, for your housing, for your work, if you're dependent, well, they have control over you, because if they cut off that dependence, what happens? You're in trouble. So you have to do their bidding. I want you to think about our government today. Think about why we allow our politicians to lie. I mean, we see them say one thing on video today, another thing, 2 weeks from now on video. A lot of them lie all the time. We don't hold them accountable. We say, oh, that's politics, it's okay. I think we forget something. When we send people, when we vote and elect people to office, we're sending them there as our public servants to represent us. And that even goes to the President of the United States. Okay? I'm not picking out any one particular party here, because again, I'm not inviting people to be divisive and to argue. I'm saying this across the board to all of us citizens, okay, that have the power to vote people in office. And once they get there, we expect them to work on our behalf, to protect us, to defend us, to provide us with the minimal things that we need. Because remember, our government is not our nanny. We shouldn't allow them to do certain things that we allow them to do and get away with. They're responsible to us. In many ways, we're not responsible to them. And I want to get this, I want this to be so clear. The way the government is acting today is so Machiavellian. I can give you 100 examples, and it will be coming. I promise you that. You're going to see the examples, no gimmicks, real examples, real life people in government that are acting so mob-like, so Machiavellian, that you're going to be shocked. And it's going to trouble you. It's going to bother you. And hopefully a light is going to go off, and you're going to say, you know what? We're not going to allow these people to stay in office if they're not serving us properly. Okay? We have the power of the vote. We are the people. And we're not going to be led like sheep. We're going to make them accountable to us because they are accountable to us. All of this is coming. I want you to know that, because I'm very serious. I am very concerned about the future of my country. I'm very concerned for my children and my grandchildren. Not so much for me. I'm 69 years old. I don't know how many years I have left, but I'm going to do okay no matter what. But I want to see this country, okay, in the right position for my children and grandchildren and the people that I care about. So you're going to see, I'm going to point this out to you, and hopefully it's going to resonate with all of you. I want to make this clear. I was a mob guy on the street. You know who doesn't like police? Criminals don't like police. If you've ever been a victim of a crime, you don't have anything against police, because you want the police to deal with that for you. You want them to find the perpetrators and bring them and hold them to justice. Defund the police department? Who's going to protect you? Criminals want it. When I was on the street, hey, I wanted less law enforcement. Of course. Leave us alone. Let us do our thing. Of course. If you're a criminal, why would you want the police around you? If this is your mentality, you want to get away with stuff. It's insane to think that you can run and operate a law-abiding country without people to enforce the law. It doesn't even make sense. I spent so much time in prison, visited my dad for 30 years. Criminals are criminals. And I'm not saying everybody in prison is hardcore criminal. I've already stated that's not the case, but there are some that are very hardcore. You don't want to let them loose on the street again to commit more crimes with nobody enforcing the law against them. And as for the rioting and the looting and the destruction of property, no, I'm not for it. Yes, protesting. Okay, we have a right. We have an amendment, constitutional right to protest peacefully, forcefully. And when I say forcefully, I mean make yourself known. There's strength in numbers. Strength in numbers. Use those numbers. But you don't loot and riot and hurt legitimate, innocent people that have, put their life savings and their work and their hard efforts into making a business go. What sense does that make? I mean, I don't get it. It has nothing to do with race. I'm tired of hearing every other minute it's race, race, race. Not. This country is not as racist as everybody believes. Do we need reform in our government? Yes. Do we need reform in our police departments? Yes, I believe we do in certain ways. Of course, we'll always need reform. Nobody's perfect. No police department is going to be perfect. No law enforcement agency is going to be perfect. I was upset when the FBI, when I thought agents were framing us, creating information that maybe wasn't relevant or shouldn't have been brought against us. We didn't like that. We want that kind of reform. I think you see today in politics, they overstep their bounds quite a bit. This is a country of checks and balances. We got to figure out a way to minimize that. It's never going to disappear, but to minimize that. So people, let's just act rationally with this. And am I a Trump supporter? I'm going to say this again. I'm not friends with Trump. I don't invite him over to my house for dinner. Never did anything with him. I probably wouldn't want him to date one of my daughters. Okay, but some of his policies, I agree, are good for America. Am I saying he's the perfect guy? Am I saying he never lied? Am I saying he's got no skeleton in his closet? Why should I? I have him. Why should I judge him in that regard? And the same for anybody else that's running. I look at what I believe they are proposing that is going to be the best for my country, for my loved ones, and the people that I care about. That's it. So if you have an issue with that, I'm glad to hear it. You want to send me a comment? You know something? There's an old saying, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Meaning if you have a position that you want somebody else to understand and maybe go along with, why would you try to muscle them or bulldoze them or bulldog them? Wouldn't it be better to present an intelligent argument, an intelligent debate to see that maybe they'll understand your position and give it some thought? But when you try to bully somebody or bulldog somebody, you're not going to get anywhere with that. It's only going to cause more divisiveness, and that's all we have in this country right now. So, again, understand Machiavelli and look at our government today, Democratic, Republican, look at all of them. Do you feel they're always honest and upright and have integrity? Do you feel that they lie at times? Do you feel that they're underhanded? You feel that they get into office to make money? Do you feel that they leave office and become lobbyists and use their influence, for personal gain? If you don't, you're missing something because it happens every single day across the board in government. And we as citizens of the United States, we got to put a stop to this somehow. And the way we do that is end the divisiveness among us and put the proper people in Washington and in the right position so that they govern properly. Their job is to govern. Not to take care of us, not to be our nanny, our mom and dad. That's our job. And I know, I'm going to tell you this, I know so many minorities that feel that way. Hey, we don't want a handout. We just want opportunity. We want the same opportunity as everybody else to go out and earn our living, support our families, have a career, and live the best life that we possibly can. That's what people want, most people that I know. So that's it for today. I hope you don't feel I'm preaching to you. I'm not, but I have a strong point of view with respect to this. You're going to hear more of it because, we have an important election coming up, people. And this election, there can never be more of a line in the sand, with opposing positions on the way America should run. And whatever side you're on, I'm not going to address that right now. But give it thought. Don't vote out of hatred. Vote out of what you feel is going to be the best for your country, for yourself, for your family, your children, your grandchildren. That's what you need to do. Don't let personality get involved in this. Personality don't mean anything. I'll tell you what, if I don't like somebody and he's doing the right thing for my family, if I don't like a boss, but he's running his company the proper way, treating people the right way, but I just don't like his personality, that's fine with me. That's what I want. And hopefully that's what all of you want. So I'm going to make it a little short today. And this is kind of an opening statement for me. You'll hear more about this. And as we go along, I'm going to make some very valid comparisons, how the way the mob operated and how our government is operating. And you're going to decide for yourself. It's not a gimmick. Okay, this is real life. And this is something that we need to stop, because I get asked all the time, Michael, you should run for president. Or the mob would do a better job if they were running the country rather than the government. You don't want that. We don't want a mob running the country. We don't want the mafia running the country. We want the United States government to run the country, but to do it honestly, legally, upright, with integrity, for the benefit of all of its citizens. That's what we want, and we, as citizens, have to hold them accountable. So that's it for today. We'll see you next time. God bless you. Be safe, be healthy. See you next time.